Hello and welcome. Tonight, Northern Christians in the APC restate their rejection of Muslim presidential ticket of the ruling party, maintains decision contradicts the principles of equity, fairness and justice. Governor Wike speaks out on PDP crisis, tackles presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar and some other prominent leaders of the party. Governors Okowa and Otom call for reconciliation with Rivers State Governor. Shake-up in the Nigerian army as authorities reshuffle some of its top-ranking officers across various formations and institutions. And Russia and Ukraine trade blame over rocket attack that killed dozens of Ukrainian prisoners of war in the Donetsk region.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's central bank allays fears of further drop in the naira's value, cites speculative dollar demand for recent declines.
And from Abuja, FCT authorities revamp 7-state security arrangement to tackle attacks by terrorists following another attack on Presidential Guard troops at a checkpoint in the nation's capital.
And it appears the uproar generated by the choice of the All Progressives Congress vice presidential candidates has refused to go away. This comes as Northern Christian members of the ruling APC have formally rejected the Muslim presidential ticket of the party. They made their position known at a summit in Abuja today, where they explained that the decision goes against all the principles of equity, fairness and justice.
The hall is packed full with politicians, clergymen, as well as women and youth groups from across the north who have come together to formally make their feelings known to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, on its choice of a vice presidential candidate.
My brief remark I've titled...
The former secretary to the government of the Federation, Mr. Babache Lawal, opens the conversation.
It is our belief that Northern Muslims would have seen the justice in a Muslim-Christian ticket and would have given it their overwhelming support had the party been inclined to do so. Sadly, the party chose to go the divisive line. A corollary to this mindset is that Christians should also not vote for a ticket in which there are no Christians in it.
On his part, a former Speaker of the House of Representatives says Nigeria is at a dangerous crossroad if an important issue like religion is not properly balanced to reflect the interest of all parties in the country.
The inability by the APC to distinguish the Nigeria of 1993 from Nigeria of 2022 gave me cause to worry even the more. An indispensable attribute of a leader in crisis is to be able to recognize a departure of events from routine to novel. The inability to spot an inflection point in moments of gripping visceral fear across the nation represents an irredeemable, fatal error of judgment on the part of the presidential candidate. There has never been a time in our history that we are as divided.
Tinubu has been head-bent on trying this Muslim ticket. Atiku Abubakar said that Tinubu approached him in 2007 to be his vice president. Atiku Abubakar rejected. Tinubu tried it with Buhari in 2015. Buhari rejected it. Now that he is the boss, he did it. He will see it from the heart of Nigeria. Nigerians say, not division, and this is division.
At the end of the day, all at the summit resolved that Christians in the north have a right to decide not to vote for a presidential ticket that does not take into consideration their interest.
And about a week after Governor Wike promised to speak on all that has transpired in the PDP after the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as the party's presidential candidate, the Rivers State Governor has now broken his silence. Governor Wike is faulting Mr. Atiku's speech on the day he unveiled Governor Ifeanyi Okowa as his running mate and some of his statements in a recent television interview. The governor said he had decided to be quiet because he loves the party, but noted that some people whom he referred to as attack dogs of Mr. Atiku were sent to peddle lies against him. He was speaking to journalists on his arrival at the Port Harcourt International Airport from Spain today.
When he unveiled his vice presidential candidate, no right-thinking, a lover of this party, will say that the speech he made on that day was fair. No right-thinking lover of this party. Forget about the rent seekers. Forget about the scavengers. And I never reacted to it. I said, look, this party belongs to all of us. Look at his attack dogs. Sule Lamido, Babangida Aliyu, Maina Waziri. Look at the statements they issued. Look at the abuses they rained on me. I never reacted. As far as I'm concerned, nobody. In fact, I had somebody told me that the national chairman said he spoke to me. With all due respect, he never called me. In fact, my husband came to me that, national chairman is on the phone. I said, how are you fine? Oh, this and that. So I'm traveling when I come back. So let's everybody, since after 29th of May, not one person has come to talk to me. Forget about hiring journalists, press media people like Ruben Abati, who was the former chief press secretary to the president. Sometimes when you read or hear what he says, you begin to wonder, where are we heading to? No more investigative journalism. Nothing like that happening. People just stay from one place, concoct stories, say all kinds of things they want to say. But like I said, I remain silent. But I can't continue to remain silent. Nigerians must know what happened. Nigerians must know who are those that love them. Nigerians must know, are we serious about leadership of this country? We must. So I would urge everybody to be patient. After the commissioning of projects we have lined up, then we'll be able to speak to Nigerians and tell them what happened. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is involved. I'm not a slave, and I will not be a slave. I'm a free born of this country. I must be able to say how things are.
Meanwhile, the PDP vice presidential candidate and governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, has appealed to Governor Nyesom Wike on the need for genuine reconciliation on issues rocking the party. He explains that the delay in meeting with Governor Wike was due to his trip abroad, and now that he is back, the party and its presidential candidate will dialogue with him. On his part, Governor Samuel Ortom says he supports the move to appease the River State governor over the disagreement. They spoke to journalists after their closed-door meeting at the Benue State Government Lodge, Abuja.
The party, the PDP, were one family. I believe that everything is being done for us to be able to stay together as a family and to go into the battle as one family. I did not listen to the interview by Wike, and I believe that the reconciliation process is still on. Whatever is going on at the moment, at the end, we're still going to go into the battle as one family. And I believe very strongly that Wike is a party man. He's worked very hard for the party. He's a strong PDP man, and I know that he's not going to work for another party. However, whatever issues that ought to be resolved, will just be resolved. You're aware that it's been out for some days, and I believe that in the next few days, a lot of things will happen, and you see the family come back together. This house belongs to all of us, not just to the people of Benue State. I'm also partly from Benue.
We are discussing whatever things are not right, we'll seek to correct them. And, I think, like I've said before, Wike needs to be placated. He's a very major stakeholder of our party, and whatever is the thing, we will work ensuring that we have peace and reconciliation. Wiki is a major stakeholder, and every one of us, the presidential candidate, the running mates, also appreciate the stake of Governor Wiki and all of us. We look forward that reconciliation will take place very soon.
Staying with politics and ahead of the 2023 general election, the national leadership of the Labour Party has held a town hall meeting in Kaduna State to sensitize residents to obtain their permanent voters' cards and also mobilize them to vote for the party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi. Speaking at the meeting, the national spokesperson of the Third Force Movement, Unisa Tanko, and the Labour Party National Secretary said that the present and past administrations have failed abysmally to tackle insecurity, poverty, and other socio-economic problems confronting the nation.
We are all here.
With the 2023 election just some months away, the national leadership of the Labour Party is in Kaduna State for a town hall meeting.
An aspirant is different from a candidate.
The aim is to interface with the leaders and members of the party and other critical stakeholders on the need to be united for the task ahead, in addition to getting their permanent voter cards.
You are the people that are going to conduct the primaries. You are the one that is going to select among them and who is going to be the torchbearer. It is when you have given him to us that he becomes a candidate.
Speakers say the 2023 elections offer another opportunity for Nigerians to take back their country.
At each polling unit, you have not less than 500 people voting. 500 people voting. Calculate, we have about 1,200 and something polling units across the country. All you need to have your canvassers, as he said, 20 of them. Calculate and get nothing less than 150 voters at each polling unit. You will get your president voted in with 26 million voters. We need to take our brothers and sisters and our country back to the Nigerian people.
There is a window of opportunity for Nigerian people to exercise their franchise and bring up a leader that knows about justice, equity, and fair play.
Members of the Labour Party are also reminded of the importance of the presidential contest and how they can help the party to be victorious.
We have your pulse, but I mean, we knew your sacrifices, and we don't want that to go in vain. The rest assured, we'll make sure we mobilize our team workers and the working class in the state to make sure the victory at the end of the day is on our side.
We need to bring people together, both the Muslim and Christian that in southern Kaduna, bringing them together and give them a sense of belonging and make sure that they know that they are from one family. Our faith should not divide us.
As the preparations for the elections gain momentum, members here are told that being onlookers is not an option. What this means is that they must be involved at all levels if their party must coast to victory.
In part two, after the break, new leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria takes over the body, resolves to continue engagement with government on various national issues. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Northern Christians in the APC restate their rejection of the Muslim presidential ticket of the ruling party, maintains the decision contradicts the principles of equity, fairness and justice. Governor Wike speaks out on PDP crisis, tackles presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar and some other prominent leaders of the party. Governors Okowa and Otom call for reconciliation with River State Governor. Shake-up in the Nigerian army as authorities reshuffle some of its top-ranking officers across various formations and institutions. And Russia and Ukraine trade blame over rocket attack that killed dozens of Ukrainian prisoners of war in the Donetsk region. And at a time the country is faced with challenges at various fronts, the new leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria is promising to continue dialogue with the government as part of efforts to enhance security and improve the livelihood of Nigerians. This pledge was made by the new president of the association, Most Reverend Daniel Oko, who explains that the Christian body will also interface with the Interfaith Forum to promote peace and stability in the country. He was speaking during the swearing-in ceremony of new executives for the body in Abuja.
It's been 3 days since proceedings leading to the election of new executives of the Christian Association of Nigeria commenced, and now it's time for the swearing of the new executives. The session is presided over by the outgoing president, Reverend Samson Ayokunle. First, the new vice president of the association is introduced. And then the president. They're given handover notes and the amended constitution of the body, and thereafter charged to work towards promoting peace and unity in the country.
It's second to your Bible. As long as you keep close to it, you wouldn't have trouble. God will guide you.
In his speech, the new president is promising to engage all members of the association to uphold the rights of members of the Christian faith.
I want to make a commitment to you, the former president, and to all of us Nigerians, that I will continue to lead the Christians to engage the Muslims in a healthy dialogue. Now, the reason why we are doing this is that there is no way you can understand each other without talking. We have to keep talking, and we must talk responsibly. That is what I can assure you that will come from Khan.
The event then opens up with words of prayer.
Today, we pray that your church will be ready to be victorious in the name of Jesus.
Outside the hall, both the president and his vice bear their minds on issues bordering on interfaith relations, insecurity, and how to engage the government on issues of national importance.
We don't have a choice. We have to keep talking. For people who refer to people like us as dialogue people, at the end of the day, even when you fight, as it is said, one day you will come back to the dialogue table. So it's important that, therefore, we talk now. Let us talk now, so that we can actually avoid war.
We have been encouraging and sensitizing our members to be more security conscious and to report any security breaches, any potential crisis, attacks and so on to security agencies.
It's the dawn of a new era for the Christian Association of Nigeria. Nigerians anticipate how this new administration will lend its voice to issues of national development.
Staying with security, Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi has condemned the threat by the federal government regarding the decision to sanction the BBC and Trust TV for reporting and the coverage of the lingering insecurity in the country. The Minister of Information and Culture yesterday announced that sanctions await the two media organizations following their documentaries that expose how bandits and terrorists virtually took control of several communities across the northwest. But in a statement, the cleric commended local and international media organizations for coming out boldly to report about the magnitude of insecurity, government's wrong approach in tackling the crisis, and how it has become a lucrative business for the criminals and few in position of power and authority. In his words, federal government's attempt in trying to find a scapegoat to justify its glaring failure after wasting over $16 billion in the last 7 years without any commensurate result on security and efforts to blackmail certain media organizations for their patriotism in reporting the crisis is unfortunate and should be resisted by all responsible media organizations. Sheikh Gumi says the BBC Africa Eye documentary reflects the actual happenings in Zamfara State and wondered why government will not use such discovery to squarely address the crisis. In the meantime, the Nigerian Army has reshuffled the posting and appointment of some of its top-ranking officers across various formations and institutions. Army spokesperson Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu explains in a statement that those affected include principal staff officers of the Army headquarters, general officers commanding GOCs, corps commanders, commandants of training institutions, brigade commanders, commanding officers, among others. Also affected by the redeployment are 4 other senior officers at the Defence Headquarters, including the Director Defence Media Operations, Major General Bernard Onyuko, who is now to serve as the Director of Procurement at the Defence Headquarters Department of Logistics. This latest shake-up in the Nigerian Army comes barely 24 hours after the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, disclosed plans to reposition the security architecture in the country in a bid to addressing insecurity. The police authorities are also stepping up action in tackling insecurity as the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has inaugurated a committee to review documents from the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit with the aim of tackling money laundering, terrorism and proliferation of firearms in the country. Mr. Baba inaugurated the committee at the conference hall of the force's headquarters, Abuja. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer, Ulumiwa Adejobi, explains that the 21-person committee is made up of notable, highly dedicated and experienced officers of the Nigeria Police Force. They are to provide data on the 3 areas of concern to determine the level of Nigeria's implementation of the strategic modalities in place to tackle insecurity and financial crimes in line with international best practice. The committee is to submit its report within 1 week. The continuous voter registration in the Jeshatedo area of Lagos was disrupted today by some residents over alleged negligence by some independent National Electoral Commission officials deployed to the area. It was gathered that the officials were sighted in the St. Bridget's Catholic Church in the area conducting the voter registration, prompting some persons who had gathered for the exercise to question the rationale for the use of a church for the registration. Reacting to the incident, the Lagos State Public Relations Officer, Benjamin Hundeyin, explains that the residents raised concern and informed the police about the incident, and the DPO, Jeshatedo, swung into action and directed officials to relocate to the stipulated site. He added that preliminary findings revealed that a resident of the area who volunteered to transport the officials from their office to the center was responsible for the mix-up. Let's head over to Abuja studios, where Linda Kigbe is standing by with more stories. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Millicent. We continue with security issues. Following recent attacks by terrorists on the fringes of a nation's capital, the Federal Capital Territory Authority is moving to reactivate a special security operation to check the menace. This comes as more details emerge on last night's attack by bandits on officers of the Presidential Guards Brigade at a checkpoint on the Abuja-Kaduna Highway, which left at least 1 person dead and 2 others injured, according to eyewitnesses. So far, there is no official statement from the relevant authorities on the latest attack, which is coming 5 days after a similar incident at the Buhari area of the FCT. This beautiful monolith on the border of the Federal Capital Territory and Niger State is regarded as a gateway into Abuja from most states in northwest Nigeria. This is the spot of the latest attack on the troops of the 102 Battalion of the Presidential Guards Brigade by bandits on the night of Thursday, July 28, 2022.
They came towards from Madela, coming towards Madela, and they start firing at the army unexpectedly. But the army, they stood up, they retaliated back. All through they move all through till they get to this U-turn here. So those special forces came out also with their weapon and everything. Before they could come out, they run off.
From the military that survived, we learned that two sustained injury, well, they lost 1. We realized that they have a serious gun battle. When we went there, there is blood, that they drag blood, maybe of one of the members that is shot.
It's the third attack on the fringes of the Federal Capital Territory by bandits, and residents fear for their lives.
For now, we are not safe now. For now, we are not safe for this area. We need government to be helping us. With those security, maybe their motto, even those security, they won't come outside, no motto, nothing.
The Minister of FCT summoned a meeting of security agencies where a decision was reached to revive the G7 security operations, which involves security collaboration and partnership with states which are contiguous to the Federal Capital Territory.
Abuja is the seat of government, surrounded by states like Kaduna, Niger, Kogi, which were having some camps of these hoodlums or bandits. So for Abuja to be safe and her residents, that is why we activated, and thank God the Minister of FCT has approved the commencement of G7 operation immediately, so that we take the fight to the bandits, not to allow them to come to the FCT.
The administration is urging residents to go about their lawful activities without fear, insisting that the nation's capital is safe. Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's central bank allays fears a further drop in the naira value, cites speculative dollar demand for recent declines. That's on Business News. Join us again. You're welcome back to the news at 10, coming to you live from Abuja. To legal matters, the Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has granted the request of parties to file more documents in the suit brought by the People's Democratic Party against some of the opposition parties in the state. The PDP in the state had dragged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Accord Party, Labour Party and the Social Democratic Party and some candidates of the parties before the court, seeking the disqualification of some of their candidates in the 2023 National Assembly elections. Justice Dialog Pam later adjourned the case till August the 31st for the parties to regularize their documents in the suit.
Court 4 of the Federal High Court Port Harcourt Division is packed full as lawyers and party supporters troop in to observe proceedings in 3 suits filed by the ruling party in Rivers State, the PDP against INEC and some opposition parties in the state, seeking the disqualification of their candidates over alleged irregularities in the conduct of primaries. In one of the suits, the PDP is challenging INEC, the Accord Party, the Labour Party and the Social Democratic Party, SDP. The PDP seeks the disqualification of their National Assembly candidates in the 2023 general elections. The trial judge listened to the preliminary objections challenging the suits as some of the lawyers asked for more time to put in more documents before the court.
Members of the SDP.
Speaking to journalists outside the courtroom, senior advocate of Nigeria Femi Falana accuses the PDP of meddling in the internal affairs of other political parties.
The sole purpose of the case is an attempt by the PDP to be the sole contestant in all elections in Rivers State in 2023.
Another senior lawyer, Abiodun Owonikoko, who represented the National Assembly candidates of the Accord Party in a suit challenging the conduct of primaries, says the move by PDP is against the tenets of democracy.
This is a matter that has to do with our client's own internal affairs. We believe that the authorities and precedents before now do not seem to support a third party completely interloping and begin to come and cause disruption in the affairs of a party while it's busy campaigning for its own candidate, thereby frustrating all oppositions. That is not good for democracy.
The governorship candidate of the Accord Party in Rivers State, who is in court in solidarity with the party's National Assembly candidates, says the party is not disturbed by the antics of the PDP.
You can't take away the right of the people to decide whom they want. You can't appoint a governor of Rivers State. You will have Rivers who decide who their governor will be.
Counsel to the PDP, however, says his clients are waiting for hearing to begin on the substantive suit.
The court was informed that they are disputing their own existence. They filed an application before the court to say that their name is not Accord Party, that there is no political party known as Accord Party. Therefore, the name of Accord Party should be struck out of the case. We opposed it. We know them as Accord Party, and all the papers from INEC bears Accord Party as their name.
After listening to all parties, trial judge Justice Dalo Palm adjourned the cases to August 31, 2022 to enable parties regularize their court papers.
Away from the court, operatives of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, today stormed some Bureau de Change facilities located in Wuse Zone 4 in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, in what appeared to be a covert operation to dislodge currency speculators who are alleged to be massively mopping up available foreign currencies. The raid comes after weeks of surveillance in which agents of the EFCC had been monitoring the activities of most of the Bureau de Change operators in the area. The anti-graft agency is said to be working on intelligence that some persons have mobilized resources and are busy buying up available foreign currencies, especially the United States dollar, to either hoard or smuggle the same out of Nigeria. There has lately been a free fall of the naira, with the currency exchanging for over 700 naira to a dollar. And that's all from Abuja. Over now to Teniola for business news.
Thanks a lot. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's central bank says it's making efforts to avert further downward slide in the value of the naira, which it says is fueled by speculative tendencies in the foreign exchange market. In a statement released today, the CBN says it remains committed to resolving the forex issues confronting the country and is working to manage both the demand and supply side challenges, while admitting that there was huge demand pressure to meet the forex needs of manufacturers. The financial markets regulator explained that the Monetary Authority was strategizing to help Nigeria earn more stable and sustainable inflows of foreign exchange in the face of dwindling inflows from the oil sector. Meanwhile, the Apex Bank has advised Nigerians not to succumb to speculative activities of some players in the foreign exchange market. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and Allies, led by Russia, together, all known as OPEC Plus, are set to meet next week on August the 3rd. Some OPEC Plus sources say the group is expected to consider keeping oil output unchanged for September, while two OPEC Plus sources expect that a modest increase would be discussed. A decision not to raise output would disappoint the United States after President Joe Biden visited Saudi Arabia this month, hoping to strike a deal for a supply boost. Meanwhile, oil prices traded higher today as international price benchmark Brent crude futures for September settlement, due to expire on Friday, climbed by $2.89 to $110.03 a barrel amid tight supply. Nigeria's oil production may have suffered a further decline of about 22,000 barrels per day as employees of Adax Petroleum Development Nigeria down tools over alleged anti-labor practices. Adax, which is owned by China's Sinopec Group, has 4 oil mining licenses: OML 123, 124, 126, and 137, operating the assets in a production sharing contract with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Meanwhile, latest reports say the workers have suspended the strike and production has resumed after Adax management agreed for a meeting with the branch leadership of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria on Tuesday, the 2nd of August, to find solutions to pending labor issues. Airline operators in the country have increased fares for domestic flights over the rising cost of aviation fuel and foreign exchange crisis. Reports on some of the carriers show that air flights from Lagos to Kano and Kaduna increased from about 60,000 to 100,000 naira. Similarly, the flight price from Port Harcourt to Kano is pegged at 85,000 naira for the same airline. During an emergency meeting with the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, on Tuesday, the Airline Operators Association of Nigeria decried that aviation fuel has surged from 118 naira to about 1,000 per litre. The aviation industry is faced with a surge in the prices of Jet A1 fuel, which is significantly affecting operations. FBN Holdings has released its financial report for the first half of this year. According to the report released to the Nigerian Exchange, the parent company of Nigeria's oldest financial institution, First Bank, posted a post-tax profit of 56.5 billion naira at mid-year, and that's a level never before seen since it transformed into a holdco a decade ago. At the same time, its gross earnings climbed higher to 359.3 billion naira. Interest income soared to 226.35 billion naira, while the company posted profit before tax of 65.7 billion naira. And after days of downturn, Nigeria's stock makes a strong rebound amid renewed buy interest from investors. Ini John Mekwa tells us more.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the stock market report. In an unexpected turn of events, the all-share index recovered after about 10 negative trades and released the bull. Increasing by almost 1.5%, the market gained 162 billion naira at the close of the last trading day in the month of July. Remember that likely barometer we talked about, financial services? Well, they had a great deal to do with this comeback because the index inched up 6.6%. Looks like the dip in prices attracted bargain hunting on Zenith Bank. Its share price gained 1 naira 80 kobo to close at 20 naira 70 kobo. And GTCO also got attention. It gained 95 kobo to close at 19 naira 85 kobo. For consumer goods, it was flour mill and international breweries. And then that silent market mover, MTN Nigeria, it gained 10 naira 10 kobo to close at 200 naira 10 kobo. Some analysts believe that this is just a dead cat bounce because liquidity is still squeezed in the market, so maybe we shouldn't get our hopes up yet. But it's still safe to say investors are going to have a green weekend. That's a stock market report. I'm Ini John Mekwa.
And that's Business News Tonight. I'm Teniola Shubowale. It's back to Millicent for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Teniola. Coming up next on the news at 10, Russia and Ukraine trade blame over rocket attack that killed dozens of Ukrainian prisoners of war in the Donetsk region. We have that on our international news. Now, an explosion at a prison in a Russian-occupied part of the eastern Donetsk region has killed dozens of Ukrainian prisoners of war, though there's some confusion about who carried out the attack, as senior Ukrainian and Russian officials blame one another. While Russian officials accuse Ukraine's military of hitting the facility with a high-precision rocket, Ukraine's leaders accuse Russia of carrying out a false flag operation to hide evidence of torture and extrajudicial executions.
The Olenivka prison near Donetsk was used to house many of the Ukrainian soldiers who surrendered at the Azovstal plant in Mariupol several months ago. Ukraine says the prison was targeted by Russia in an effort to destroy evidence of torture and killing. The Ukrainian Prosecutor General's office has launched a war crimes investigation. For its part, Russia says the prison camp was hit by Ukrainian precision rockets and accuses Ukraine of deliberately perpetrated provocation. According to Russian-backed separatist officials, 53 soldiers were killed in the attack and several more injured. The deaths overshadowed UN-backed efforts to restart shipping grain from Ukraine and ease a looming global hunger crisis. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and the G7 ambassadors to Ukraine gathered at the Chornomorsk port near Odessa in a show of unity following an agreement to allow the resumption of grain exports from Ukrainian Black Sea ports. Officials say the first grain ship from Ukraine since Russia's invasion is ready and waiting for the signal to leave port.
I'm really pleased to be here together with G7, Turkey and UN in solidarity for this deal, which the UK has been, among other countries, in lobbying hard for, and we're really pleased that it's been reached. And along with everyone else, we look to Russia to play their part in making sure that this deal happens.
As you can all see, the ships are here. They're loaded. They're ready to go. More ships are starting to be loaded today. So we call on Russia to agree to the corridors that are needed to ship the grain, and we hope to see that soon.
Although a deal was brokered last week between Ukraine and Russia to allow urgent grain to be exported, no ship have left so far, despite hopes to resume shipments as early as this week.
Still on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the United Nations says it has been unable to deliver any aid to Ukrainian territories beyond government-controlled areas since the start of the war. Speaking in Kyiv, Seviano Abeu from the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says that this week Russia did not allow humanitarian organizations to cross the front line in the Zaporizhzhia region. Abeu adds that the aid workers had to take shelter in a nearby village of Ukrainian-controlled territory as shelling started, despite both sides of the conflict being informed that aid workers were in the district.
Since the start of the war, the UN and our colleagues from the NGOs have not been able to send any relief supplies to areas beyond the control of the government of Ukraine. We have not been able to conduct any assessments on the impact of the war on humanitarian needs. In Zaporizhzhia Oblast, for example, we have a very recent example of the challenge that we are facing here in Ukraine. This week, the Russian Federation prevented us from crossing the front line to deliver assistance in Polohy. We were prepared, we had the supplies, and we could not go. We have to deliver the 50 tons of different humanitarian supplies to another area, a settlement in the government-controlled areas called Stepanitsky. While there, our team had to take shelter as shelling is starting the settlement.
We switch to sports now. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, has stated that Nigeria will maximize the 2022 Commonwealth Games to establish its prominence in global sports politics and diplomacy. The minister, in an exclusive interview with Channels Television, says the multi-sports competition in Birmingham, UK, provides a huge opportunity for Nigerian athletes to surpass the record of the 2018 edition in Gold Coast, Australia.
Of course, you talk about football, Nigeria is well respected. In athletics, Nigeria is also respected, but we want to get back. We want to get the momentum back, but we want to get to the top of the pack in which this country is respected through the track and field events. We've been to Commonwealth in the past before. We want to see how we can best our record, better than what we did in 2018. We've also been very careful. We came with just 9 different sports where we're going to compete this time, because we did some evaluation, some computation, some benchmarking, and we said let's put our best foot forward. That's what most countries are doing.
Aymeric Laporte will miss the start of Manchester City's Premier League title defence after the Spain defender had surgery on a knee injury. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola revealed that the Laporte needed the operation after struggling with the injury in the closing stages of last season. The 28-year-old centre-back played through the pain barrier to help Manchester City win their 4th Premier League title in 5 seasons after a dramatic final day victory against Aston Villa.
Laporte is injured. Have a surgery after the last season. Like, he played the last 2-3 games with an important injury. He made an incredible effort, but of course he could not continue to do that. He made a surgery. So far it's going really well, but you have to be careful because it was a knee, and hopefully in, I don't know, it needs a time. And I think August will be out, but maybe in September start to be with us. We'll see.
Catalan giants Barcelona have made their intention to bring Lionel Messi back to the club clear as President Joan Laporta insists he will make the dream a reality. Laporta has indicated he will do all he can to make a return happen, suggesting that he feels he owes Messi a chance for a befitting farewell. Barcelona manager Xavi is also open to the idea of Messi's return to Barcelona. And the main news again, Northern Christians in the APC today restated their rejection of the Muslim presidential ticket of the ruling party. They maintained the decision contradicts the principles of equity, fairness and justice. Also today, the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, spoke out on the crisis rocking the PDP. He tackled the presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar, and some other prominent leaders of the party, just as Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State and his Benue State counterpart, Samuel Otom, called for reconciliation with the Rivers State governor. And Russia and Ukraine today traded blame over rocket attack that killed dozens of Ukrainian prisoners of war in the Donetsk region. That's it at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.